welcome to this month's episode of SoupDuhZhoor. We are set up for a late night show today, and I am your host, Cola Henderson. Yes, Henderson, it's still weird to say. I'll always be Cola Savek, but I guess now I'm Cola Henderson. And we have a special guest tonight, actually the only guest tonight. And we're gonna bring her on down. Angie Svek, come on down. Welcome to SoupDuhZhoor late night.
So much applause.
Hola. So much applause. Hold back.
Oh.
Yes, people. Yes. It's so exciting. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. We decided to switch up the scenery a little bit so people can see a little bit more of the studio and what we have going on here. And then it just worked out to make it a late night show as well.
I love it.
I love it too. So we're excited to be here. We have some great questions for you today.
Oh, good. I love questions.
But before we get to that, we're going to kick off with our drink because we always have a drink of the day.
It is SoupDuhZhoor.
It is SoupDuhZhoor, and it's May. What
May.
the heck happened?
I know, and it doesn't feel like May. I think I mentioned that to you the other day that it doesn't feel May to me, but I suppose it needs to kick in. I don't have a choice.
Yeah, and May has always meant big things in our family because it's your birthday month.
It is my birthday month. So special.
And you were born on
this month.
A special holiday. It wasn't really celebrated. You didn't really know as much about it when you were younger. But, you know, we involve alcohol and things. So you are a Cinco de Mayo baby.
I am. I was born on the 5th of May. 5 of some years in the past.
Some year. So in honor of Cinco de Mayo, what did you make today?
Well, I made a skinny margarita, but I don't know if you consider it skinny when it's this large. And I don't know what I was thinking, but it is. And it is tart, but it is delightful. I went with just a really nice white tequila. And I think what cut it just a little bit was I threw a little bit of Contro in there. And that just adds that little nice orange liqueur flavor. So it's not quite as tart. And then I just squeezed a whole bunch of lemons. I filled this with limes.
Yeah,
limes. I'm looking at your lemon over there. And then I shook it in that shaker. And then I dumped it on top of the ice. And
it's quite delightful, huh? You know, a couple things I learned when I bartended, and I know Jackie has bartended in her past before too. Important things with margaritas is that the mixes are just not very good.
No.
So if you want a really good margarita, you got to make it from scratch, which really isn't that hard. The orange, the Contro, the orange liqueur makes a big difference. Lots of fresh lime, and then the shake.
Yes.
You got to shake it long enough, which I never knew that before I bartended.
Exactly. And there's no simple syrup or sugars or anything in there.
Oh, so you
trying
went
to
skinny.
cut some of that out. And I don't miss it. But I think that if you do add just a little bit of that, like either a Contro or a Grand Marnier. Actually, I think we had Grand Marnier here. I have Contro at home, but that just adds a little bit of a nice flavor to it. And you actually made me one of the best margaritas ever back on my 49th birthday, which was a few years ago. And then I was like, wow, you're really good at this. And then, so now we kind of work on perfecting it.
I love it. Well, you enjoy that. I am going to have a Clearly Canadian, which is I believe what I had last time. I like to put it in a nice fancy glass. That makes me feel like it's a cocktail. And then I threw some lemon in there. So cheers.
Cheers to that. Oh my goodness. I hope I get through the questions. This is why they don't drink on normal shows.
No, not at all.
That is good.
Perfect. Okay, so we have our drinks. Now next is the word of the day.
The word of the day.
Which you have, and I know I didn't even get a sneak peek at this one. Nope. I got nothing, so let's hear it.
I brought it, and I'll explain to you why this is the word I picked here following my bout with COVID. And so that's why I chose this word, and the word is
bumfuzzle.
Bumfuzzle.
That sounds awful. Bumfuzzle means, I don't even want to guess. I think it'll be inappropriate for the show.
I feel like there's a lot of different ways you might think that it might go, but it refers to being confused, perplexed, or flustered, or to cause confusion. It's not like I'm so
like you're in a bumfuzzle.
And I did feel through when I had COVID that I was very bum puzzled a lot. It like makes you brain cloudy or something.
Well,
so
I
this
am
worked for me.
pregnant and I feel bum puzzled all the time.
So I think we could use this probably a lot. Because,
wow, I like that one.
And I think it might work well into probably what you're going to talk to me about today, because sometimes we get bum puzzled and then you kind of got to step away and maybe have a little drink, and then maybe clarity comes.
It defuzzles.
That's it. Bum puzzle. That's my word of the day.
Bum fuzzle. That's a new one. Never heard of that one.
It's a good one.
Before.
It's a good one.
Perfect. And then lastly, we've started sharing the size of the baby.
The size of the baby.
Yes.
The swag baby.
The swag baby, and finding some swag. I actually went around and I kept finding things that apparently are the size of what the baby
so
is
fun.
right now.
I don't know why no one's done this before.
So this little piece of drinkware from ETS, I think it's got a filter, so if you want to put tea in there, fruit,
it's like a baby
or anything like that.
Drinkware.
So it's approximately, it's just over 7.5 inches, which apparently is the baby size from crown to rump, and then about a pound.
Okay.
But I thought these other things were good too. This bottle of lotion from Gemline, which smells delicious. If you'd like to,
thank you.
You know.
That's
give
nice.
some love to your hands. You can do
will.
that.
Try that.
And then this cool box, we just did these as a
nice.
self-promo with a whole sustainability kit. So taking your lunch to work, and maybe this is more the size of the baby.
It's so fun to imagine. Won't it be fun when we do our soup du jour and we introduce everybody to the baby?
The actual baby.
But
for now, this is about the size of the baby.
There's the baby. That's it. That's fun.
Exactly. So today we are talking all things content. I think content can be very overwhelming for a lot of people, ourselves included.
Yes.
It can be very challenging, but it can be worth it. And we're going to try to figure out why exactly, because there's moments I think where we all go, do we really need to do this?
I know.
Do we really need to take time on it? So you're going to fill us in a little bit. You're kind of the content queen here at Soul and Swag.
I'm never content with content. I'm always thinking of the next thing.
So why do you think content is so important, both just maybe from personal use and then also in what we do at Soul and Swag?
Well, I believe that content it kind of surrounds us in so many different ways. But immediately when I hear the word content, I think of writing. And I love writing. I've always loved it. That was the subjects in school when I was young. That's what I liked to do. And I liked to write stories. I liked to write poetry. It just, it's important to me. And I'm a person that is very aware of things around me. And I'm an observer of just life and people.
And you're a learner.
I am. I just love.
Soak it all in.
I soak it all in there, or I process it. Some of it sticks. Some of it I get bum puzzled by. But I just feel like we are in the business of storytelling, and in storytelling, then how is the story told? So when I think about content from our standpoint as our brand and our company, I want everything that we do to have amazing content. It could be just the little line that's written on our gratitude notes. And I hold us up in a lot of ways because I feel that the content isn't just right.
Yes.
But I do spend time writing lots of things, and I will make documents, and they might be in journals or they might be on my computer, and there might be just different taglines that could be used on products, things that might work for all sorts of different companies. And I write all of that stuff down. And then sometimes I just write. And I have learned that writing is meant to just flow out of you. Like sometimes it comes out, and if someone else read it, they'd be like, what is this garbage? And that's why there's so many renditions before a writer gets to the end and really writes the perfect book or writes a great script for a movie, because it takes time to develop all of it. And I just feel like it's such an important thing. And writing, a lot of times, whether it's emails, which, as you know, I don't like. But anything that you get, you look at it and you're like, who taught this person how to write? Or why don't they know how to write? And I feel like it's just still a very important part about helping people develop their story and ours.
For sure. And you've been someone that content has always been important to you, whether you were acknowledging as much as you do in business now today before, but coming from the coaching world of motivation, inspiration, all of that being content and how you were going to deliver it back to them. But then when we started Soul and Swag, we started doing a lot of networking. And you'd go to these groups and people would go around and go, hi, I'm so-and-so with this kind of blah, blah, blah. And it was just blah. So you decided to do kind of a funky elevator speech. I hate that we call it that, by the way, but whatever. More of a fun intro to who you were and where you worked out. So check it out.
I represent the Soul and Swag brand. We work with businesses that need a hand. We're women-owned, and we love to give back. There's me. I'm Angie, Cola, Tammy, Maria, and Jack. Through our rustic and modern studio space with creativity flowing all over the place, music and our swag bar will put a smile on your face, and we'll throw in a side of humor and grace. As a client, you have a story to share. Emotional connections should always be there. We match your brand to your purpose and turn your customers into fans. We'll curate awesome t-shirts or koozies for your cans. With a million different products from headphones to drinking glasses, we seek inspirational ideas that will definitely kick some asses. As we know in life, you get what you give, or at the very least, you know how you like to live. So the ultimate swag experience is kind of a big deal. You want everyone to see your brand and immediately feel like they just had the best swagasm in their pants. And if you work with us, we're saying there's a chance.
Okay, so now that they've seen that, tell us how it went. Did it catch attention?
Oh, for sure.
Were people kind of confused at first when you started doing it?
And you have to be prepared for that. If you're going to be positively different, you can throw things off. You can't be afraid of, oh, what are people going to think, or they're going to criticize me. That's not why you did it in the first place, and that's why we're trying to be different. So there are those people. There's people that are judgy or whatever, and they look at you, and because it's a little bit awkward, because someone walks up and says, oh, my name's Joe, and I sell insurance, whatever. And you're like, oh, Joe, man, this is terrible.
Just liven it up a little bit.
And so when you do that, it kind of throws people off, and then they look at you like, this lady's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But I might like her, but I don't know, but weird, but I do remember her.
Right.
And that's a part of the whole thing. And I think when we're in the business that we're in, and I don't know why I say that, because I could be in banking, and I think life should still be colorful and vibrant and interesting. Absolutely. I don't know why we have to be so bland. So I feel like it went over well, and I had it memorized for a while, and then when I recited it for this, I kind of forgotten how it went. But I think,
we haven't had to do. We haven't elevator speeches lately because of the lack of networking and in-person things.
It was well received, I felt like.
Yeah, and I think one of my most fun things is when we really throw it at you pretty quickly. You kind of screwed yourself. It was kind of your own fault of when we started Soul and Swag. And although you've written poems for years and years and years, it kind of turned into doing toasts. And that could be on a business level, but usually more just personal and fun. And one of my most favorite ones you ever did was for my 30th birthday last year, and we did a party bus and the whole thing, and then you were told to give a toast in honor of my birthday, and that's become a thing now. So take a look at what she said.
Today, we celebrate Cola. 29 is in your past. It's a USA party to launch your 30s, and we know it'll be a blast. When you were born in Fremont and the doctor said, it's a girl, I had a feeling there and then that you would change the world. I'm the luckiest mama that ever could be. And I'm really glad we called you Cola, 'cause you weren't meant to be Nikki. You're brilliant and funny and talented and sweet, and you fell in love with a redneck who has swept you off your feet. Congrats on your engagement. You had it for him the first time he tried to flirt. Colby, you better take care of my daughter or you'll be buried in that bird shirt. So Cola, as you start this new birth year, during this party that's red, white, and blue, I feel blessed to be your mama and business partner too. You've got the very best smile, everyone loves your style, and hanging with you is always worthwhile. Get off your asses and raise your glasses, your party goers are in luck, 'cause this girl likes it dirty and she's turning 30, but most of all, she's cool as fuck.
Oh gosh, that one just always gets me to chuckle. I just love it so much. So I think now let's walk through, these ideas are all great, and I think sometimes I feel like the one who kind of brings people down, because there's always such great ideas. Mm-hmm. There's ideas and all of that, but then there's putting it together and actually executing. So my question is usually, this all sounds great, but how are we going to actually make it happen? Whether it's recording this video, SoupDuhZhoor, it's doing some of our other video, it's sending out messaging with our self-promo kits or for our clients. So let's walk through a little bit of what that process kind of looks like, because how often do you feel like when it comes to content, you write something down and it's perfect right away?
Wow, unless I'm put up against the wall, like I am
within
sometimes,
like minutes.
And somebody says, oh, we need toast to write a poem quick, and then I just put the gobbledygook down and it comes out and it's funny, and sometimes if you swear, it makes it funnier. But I feel like I love to overthink it, because I want it to be so great. And that isn't just for our stuff that we do. Now that stuff I really overthink. But if you guys sit down and you talk with me and say, we have this client and they want to do this thing, and how can we help them? And they need a note to go inside of it, or they've been provided us with a letter to go in with something, and we read it and we go, oh my gosh, who wrote this? And I feel like we spend some time together thinking about it and what the messaging needs to be, whether it's brief or whether it's long. And then I have to kind of get into a mindset with it. And I definitely need to know what the deadline is.
Yes.
Once I know what the deadline is, then I know that I can do the creative writing, which sometimes, again, needs to spill out. You got to let it kind of out and write it all down. Or sometimes you and I will do that, and we'll write it on the back of old wrapping paper, and we'll write down ideas and thoughts.
And a lot of times it's sloppy at first, right? It looks kind of messy in order to get to where we're trying to go.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I think that's also the fun part of it, and everybody's can be vulnerable enough to just put all those ideas out there. But the actual writing of something is really important to me. I love it and I enjoy it, but I do, and you guys all know this about me, sometimes you kind of got to push me a little bit to say, enough's enough. Make your decision.
Get her done.
Write it. This one's great. We told you we love these three. Pick one. And I struggle a little bit with that, but it's just because I have it's not a perfectionist side of me. It's just like, I want to think about everybody who's getting this, how do they feel on the other end? And then I want to read it, and then I want to read it out loud, and I want to hear it. Because as you and I know, there's something that you write that's meant to be just read, then there's something that's written that you're going to read out loud, and then there's something that's written that you're going to present.
Yes.
And those are all different phases of things. So I need to know the whole story in order to really put something together. It doesn't mean that we don't miss, or we feel like we should have done that better. And it's kind of like the first SoupDuhZhoor, you hope that every time it just kind of keeps igniting something interesting, definitely funny. Humor for me is incredibly important. And I think we've done a really good job of that as a company, of helping our clients go to different little edges that they maybe didn't know that they could go to with their branding and their products, and how they're handing it out by putting funny messages or something, changing up how it feels when they get it. And it takes thought.
And that can be so hard sometimes, because they see what we do, or they see something cool online or by a big brand, and then they're like, oh, we want something cool, and then they still just want kind of the same thing. So I think that consistent pushing somebody a little bit to say, you can do this, it's okay, we're still sticking within brand guidelines or whatever some of those things are, but to keep pushing them a little bit on that side of it.
For sure.
And then within the presentation part, you made a good point of how is it being presented, right? Is this being read? Is it a video? Is it online? Is it in person? Is it in a box?
Website.
Is it you presenting? Which same thing when we started doing a lot of networking and you went to present about our business, about Soul and Swag, and nobody really knew who we were yet. You thought, we need something a little extra, a little different, because we are positively different.
That's right. Yeah, in the first year.
Exactly. So here's how she introduced us to some of her networking groups.
Since today is the day I present to you, I had to deeply consider what I wanted to do. I refuse to be boring and make you all tired. That would never reflect the way I am wired. I grew up in wide open spaces with happy faces, with family roots, cowboy boots, shooting hoops, and cattle poop. I went to a one-room schoolhouse that's no longer there. I had a Partridge Family lunchbox and my mom permed my hair. We drove at 12, we mowed the weeds, we cleaned the barn, and sorted sheep. We had no sunscreen. We walked the beans. We didn't cuss or make a fuss. We played softball in the pasture and basketball on the dirt, fought with my brother, and wore his hand-me-down shirts. We were a 4-H family and showed cattle, sheep, and hogs. We cleaned chickens, baled hay, and had a graveyard for our cats and dogs. We fixed fences, played in corn cribs, rode bikes, and climbed trees. Those holes in our jeans were made from real skinned-up knees. As you might have guessed, we were to do our best, don't dare ask to rest. We'd be snowed in for days, we were in school plays, and my middle name is Gay. In high school, some called me AJ, or Ange, or Pooh. My last name was Johnson, and I graduated from Logan View. My mom was a master of all foods and confections. I catered with her and learned lots of lessons. My dad farmed, managed the co-op, and drove a Ford LTD car. He'd end each day with a highball and a Swisher Sweet cigar. I went to church, played in the dirt, played truth or dare, and went to fairs. We listened to Johnny Cash from the 8-track player in the metal dash. I grew up believing I'd be a star on Saturday Night Live, because being a comedian on the farm was a way to survive. But you can't go chasing waterfalls or quoting TLC, because some things ain't supposed to happen. You know, they're not meant to be. Yeah, you can bet I have regrets I ain't mentioned yet. We're all the same. We've all had pain. But I can't complain. I made it through college with a degree in phys ed. I taught PE 1 year and immediately said I prefer coaching instead. I gave up on my dreams of stardom and fame. I stopped pitching softballs and started coaching volleyball games. I love to travel and golf, catch concerts, catch fish. I love dancing and writing and make the best mac and cheese dish. I know you wonder what in the hell ever made me stop and think I should name my daughter after soda pop. But Cola is the real thing, and that name really fits. Her given name is Nicole, if any of you give a shit. My son Trevor's in college. Poor kid, looks like me. He's on the 5-year plan to earn his degree. I've lived in Elkhorn since 2004. Best move of my life. Wished I'd done it before. On June 12, 2017, we put this business in gear. We gave it a name and took off without fear. For nearly 30 years, I've been in this game. I love this creative journey and how it's changed. Cola and I own it together. My sister Tammy's the glue. She chases down the squirrels and tells me what I need to do. We have a soul mixologist on our swag crew. My niece Jackie's mantra is, I can do that for you. Now I'm going to shut down this story and let a new one begin with a video we've created to show you the business we're in. So sit a while, put on a smile, you got that style. I promise you this won't be a drag, it's in the bag. We're Soul and Swag.
So just a totally fun way to talk about what we do in only a few minutes.
And where we came from and all of that.
I love it. It's one of my favorites. You haven't done it in a while because we haven't been in front of people.
Modified it over time.
Yes.
For Soul and Swag Cella, then I made it more, that was more to introduce myself, and then I modified it more about our whole company. But
yeah,
it was fun. It went really well. I had a lot of people say I've never experienced a presentation like that ever, and they felt like it kind of changed the way people felt they needed to pay attention to how they're presenting their business.
Absolutely.
And their brand.
And I think that's such a key thing of it caught people's attention. which was your goal, and they're not going to remember every word you said, but they remember you and the presentation of it. And I think it's a great thing. I'm not great at writing poetry by any means, but I think I'm okay at it. I like it. And so not being too hard on ourselves to just try, because you might write it out and go, wow, actually, I think I can use this. Yeah. Or, maybe somebody else looks at it to make it cool, because I think rhyming, toast, poetry, they really catch attention. They get people to stop and listen when you're talking.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference too, really thinking about how is that content being delivered. So if it's something that's going in a box that we're sending out, and you have to allow the reader to read it themselves, how does it read? And can they read it in a way that's easy for them, but still interesting and something they want to read?
Definitely.
And then is it something that is written out and you're actually reading it like you would listen to an Audible book? Or is it something that you're writing out and you're now going to present it or deliver it? So there are all sorts of different ways to create your content based on how the messaging is actually going to come across. So it's no different than thinking about the messaging you want to put on a product. You're like, this would be really cool. Oh, but you're going to put it on a pen. There's not room for all of that. So you have to think about all of those different things. Oh man, I love it when we get a big, we're doing a t-shirt. So he says, can you put something funny on there? All right, let's go. We got some room to work. So it makes a difference in how you develop the content.
Absolutely. So the last thing I want to ask you, because I'm sure if anyone's listening, there might be people listening that are
maybe they don't like our content.
Analytical, strategic. They want to know, what's my return on doing this? Because it takes time. Content is not super easy. It's not super fast if you want to do it really well. But I think anybody can figure out a way to do it in the right medium to do it in. But a lot of people wondering, is it worth it? So the content we've done over the last almost 4 years, we'll be celebrating 4 years next month. Has it been worth it for the growth of our company?
I think it's been, without a doubt, one of the most important things that we do. The products are products, but the messaging and the storytelling behind it, and that we're actually taking time to listen to our client's story and help them develop it, is becoming stronger. I think we're gaining more of a different type of clientele even is coming in, because they're starting to see what we're doing. And we started it by developing that great storytelling around our own brand. We wanted to make sure that everything that we were saying, our messaging that went out, even just business emails that were, being just kind of designed. I mean, we designed that to make sure that even the messaging that goes out when we send out an invoice sounds funny and exciting, and all of the wording that goes into that, which I think is a lot of it is becoming flattened out because people don't even know how to write that stuff. And younger kids are just sending stuff so quickly and using acronyms. But when it's done well and it's really thought about, it makes a huge impact and a huge difference. Definitely. And again, it doesn't matter how short the messaging is or how huge it is. I mean, think about the messaging Got Milk. Everybody knows that was a long time ago, and it's huge. There was just this tiny bit of content that imploded because of how they put all those pieces together.
Yeah.
So if you're really going to curate really great things and for yourself or for your clients, the content and the thought behind it is truly, without a doubt, makes all the difference, because a product's a product, but the messaging behind it is what makes it a difference for everybody.
Absolutely. It's so true. I love that example of Got Milk, because I feel like it's almost come back around again, and you're seeing more messaging for it. And,
for sure.
But it never really went away either.
Yes.
It's crazy little things. Smart people.
Right.
Lots of money.
Right.
All right. Well, we appreciate you joining us for our first ever late night on SoupDuhZhoor.
This has been fun.
Thank you for being a guest here today.
I hope nobody's bumfuzzled by all of this. It's not that difficult. Just put it out there. Have
easy
some
to
fun.
be bumfuzzled. You're not alone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks. Happy Cinco de Mayo.